Hello guys, girls and everything else. This is my third attempt at recording this video because first time my microphone did not work and I need to make sure that my microphone works right now. Okay, so it works. At least I believe so. And you know, second time I was really cut off so much and I didn't want to really to edit this video because it takes like an hour and 30 minutes to export a video after I literally just cut out like 3 sections or so. And I really want to avoid that, so pretty simple. Skills. Skill guide. As you know, you get your skills that just represents your stuff. You can get them from class, from anything, from skill increases, and you have skill feats that you can choose depending on your feats. Also, if you get a general feat, then you get a skill. You also can choose a skill feat instead of a general feat. So no general skills. You can decipher writing using usually these 3 things. Usually, if a writing is written in something weird, then depending on what kind of thing, if this is a code, religious scripture, some sort of occult language, or an arcane scripture, then usually you can use one of these skills. Also, usually if this is some sort of druidic scripture, then you can use nature. Of course, skill checks. If they have a secret trait over here, the GM rolls it in secret, so you don't know. Because mostly, if you fail, nothing really happens on the skill checks that require your mental skills that use wisdom or intelligence. If you get a success, then you usually just get what you wanted, and a critical success more than you wanted. So 100% over here, even if it's coded in something. But GM rolls in secret, so if in case you roll a critical failure, you don't know that the information you gain is wrong. Also, earn income. Usually you can craft things, use your knowledge or perform to earn income, depending on thing. Essentially, over here you have the entire thing. Level 1. Over here you have the DC that you need for every skill. If you fail, you gain that much money. If you succeed, then you get that much money. Depending on your skill rank, if you succeed when you train, you get this amount of money in this. Also, you can get this amount of money if you have expert, if you have master, this amount of money, and legendary, this amount of money. If you roll a critical success, then you gain amount of money equal to just the level of the task you do plus 1. So essentially, if you take a level 10 task and you roll 20 and you roll 37 instead of 27, if you roll 37 because 27 plus 10, then instead of that, you look at the table for level 11 task, and then you choose your pay depending on your skill over here. So essentially, also now there are also magical skills, which are usually knowledge-based skills. Arcana for arcane magic, nature for primal magic, occultism for occult magic, and religion for divine magic. Arcane is all of the normal stuff. Primal is all of the natural stuff like animals and elemental things. Occultism is all of the magic related related to like phantoms, phantoms, strange occurrences, and also space. You know, like space, like aliens, moon, and things like that, and religion to for divine magic, aka afterlife things. So essentially, all of the angels, demons, and also angels, demons, and things like that, and also undead. So you can identify magic using this, of course, secret trait. And you can learn a spell, but learning a spell is not secret. Over here, you have a table that essentially tells you how much do you need to pay for a spell. So, also to mention, if you ever want to like make a die roll random DC for a task that, for example, should be accomplished by a level 8 character, you just need to look at the income table, and as you can see, you have like 24. Earn income table is a great table to check about how high should be the DC for a task, and also it seems pretty consistent in terms of identifying how much AC should a creature at this level have. I mean, yeah, pretty much. So once again, over here we have table for learning spells. Then recall knowledge. You can essentially recall knowledge. As you know, critical failure, you get fake information. Failure, nothing happens. Success, you get you get just normal success thing, and critical success. And critical success, well, you usually get more information than you normally should. But I personally homebrew it to be different, to just give your action back you used on recall knowledge, and that's why I think that that's a better thing. But all of the information like this will be in upcoming video about rules that you should ignore. Over here you have everything. Recall knowledge to remember things. You can also recall knowledge on creatures. You can subsist, aka try to survive. Society to do beggar things, and survival to do survivalist stuff. Tap the line. Nobody will actually use tap the line because it's pretty much just in a specific. It's usually just in very specific campaigns. I've never seen anyone actually use tap the line ever. Now creatures. Now you can just recall knowledge. I do believe that over here there should be a recall knowledge table. There should be like a recall knowledge table somewhere, or not this. Rules, sources, traits, or actions, activities. I'm going to just Google it. Recall knowledge on creatures, Pathfinder 2nd edition. Yeah, recall knowledge in rules, and over here you have a table. Aberrations, of course, are aliens, so occultism. Animals, just nature. Astral, aka just space, usually just space being like Alien X from Ben 10. Then it's occultism. Beast is arcana or nature, because probably if something is sentient but should not be sentient, then you use arcana usually for that. And over here, beasts are basically sentient animals, and animals should not be sentient. That's why beasts have arcana. Celestial, of course, religion, because there are angels and stuff like that. Constructs, arcana or crafting. Yet again, crafting because they're built. Arcana because they should not be sentient. Dragons, arcana because they're arcane creatures. Elemental, arcana or nature. Mostly because nature, there are forces of nature and they are sentient despite not the fact that they should not be sentient. Also, a lot of arcane spells derive from elemental things. ethereal occultism. Ethereals are basically like this would be really hard to explain, but if a creature has an ethereal plane, you will know what it is. Fey nature because there are all fairies and stuff like that, and also like boograns, boogies, boogeymen, essentially boogeymen. Fiend, of course, religion because there are demons and demons are from religions. Fungus nature because there are plants usually that are usually not sentient. They're just automatically do their own thing. Humanoid society because humans have society. It's the only thing that you can recall knowledge on with society, but there are a lot of humanoids. And so monitor, religion, of course. Monitors are essentially things like Santa Claus that oversee you all the time. Also occultism because goo, and it could be in an adult Japanese movie, so that's why occultism. Um, Now plant nature, of course, because plants, spirit, spirit is occultism, because there are spirits that have not yet been religious things. There are spirits that are essentially just stuck to earth, and as long as they're stuck to earth, it's occultism essentially, because of Ouija boards and stuff like this. And undead religion because death is a vital part of religion. Okay, so going back to all of the other skills. All of the other skills. First, we have acrobatics. It can be, if you're untrained, it can be used to balance and fumble through, which is moving through enemy space. You can maneuver flight with, you can maneuver flight if you're trained at acrobatics. So essentially, if you're trained, you can just do typical, just normal maneuvering. Expert is just like normal maneuvering. Master is like really crazy stuff, and legendary is a thing that should not be possible. As you can see, that does, and as you can see, you can also squeeze to move up through a space efficiently. It is still recording very well. So now Arcana. As you can know, all of the Arcana, also acrobatics uses dexterity. Arcana, all of the stuff. It's all about arcane magic. You can use it with intelligence, and that's pretty much how you use it. Athletics. Now, it's a strength-based skill that allows you to do all of the athletic stuff. Essentially, depending over here, you see your land speed, your normal land speed. So essentially, if you roll athletics to climb, then depending on your land speed over here, as you can see, you will move that much. And if you critically succeed, you will move that much. Over here with swim distance is also pretty similar. Where this table is for when you try to swim, of course also related to your speed, and this is critical success when you swim. Also you can jump using it across big gaps. You can also climb using athletics. As you can see, you can force open, aka like knock down the door. Over here you see that you should not be able to knock down a iron or stone door, but you can. So now, of course, everyone. So let my door open. So now you can jump high, aka vertically, and long jump, aka horizontal jump. Now there's shove to throw the enemy on the ground, essentially. Not really. Wait. Oh no, it's not shoving enemy on the ground. This is moving enemy. This is forcing enemy to move against their fortitude DC. You can swim using it, of course. Legendary, very cool. You can swim across maelstorms and literally swim up across a waterfall. So yeah, and with climbing, you can literally climb a smooth surface. So yeah, that's how it actually works. Shove, you can shove, swim. Yeah, trip is to make someone fall on the ground, of course, and against the reflex DC, and also we can disarm against reflex DC, which ironically, even though you need to be, this is the only action where you need to be trained to use it out of all of the athletics actions. But you have, this is the weakest one of them because it doesn't even disarm unless you roll a critical success. Falling, remember, you can grab an edge. This is a reaction. This is one of two reactions, which these reactions are 8 and grab an edge. That you get as a character, no matter what kind of character you are. So yeah, unless there will be some sort of class that comes out with something different. Now, crafting. With crafting, you can repair things, or you can make things. You usually spend 10 days to create items, and you create items in batches. Over here, once again, this is the earn income table. You can use it for pretty much any skill check. DC is pretty much any skill check of the appropriate level. What level should be the character that does this thing? Identify alchemy to identify alchemy, and that's pretty easy. Actually, also you can recall knowledge on constructs, as I said before. Crafting is general knowledge and stuff like this, intelligence-based skill. Now, deception, a charisma-based skill that is used to lie to enemies. For example, you can make a diversion or impersonate someone. Of course, lying is the definition of deception, and you can feint the enemy against their perception DC. All of the stuff that is done with deception is against enemy's perception DC. So, because perception is not all just about seeing normally, but it's about having instincts and seeing through disguises and things like that. So yeah, now diplomacy. Diplomacy is a charisma-based skill. Most of the diplomacy checks are rolls against will DC. Over here you can gather information about things. Depending, if you can just do talk of the town. You can train to hear common rumors. And as you can see, if you're legendary, you can just go to a tavern, talk, and get out with the information about the full FNAF or Mandela catalog lore. Yeah, MatPat just invest in diplomacy, boy. Yeah, then make an impression. Of course, against will DC, as I said before, and same usually with request this, which is like will DC. As you can see, depending on your qualification and stuff like that, you get to make people more friendly towards you, and more likely to help you. With intimidation, this is pretty much the opposite, though it still uses charisma against enemy's will DC. But over here, you coerce someone and force them to do something. But instead of like trying to better the relations with that person, you make it harder. And demoralize, which is one of the best action, but just if you succeed, then frightened 1. If you critically succeed, frightened 2. Of course, frightened is a very good. Frightened is minus that amount for a round. So, for an example, if you frightened 2, then during that round, for one round, you will have -2 to everything, to all of your AC, DCs, and all of your rolls. Basically -2 to every stat. -2 to every bonus. So if you critically succeed, so after that turn, the target, instead of being frightened 2, will be frightened 1, which will be essentially -1 to everything until it just goes away. No lore. Lore is the most complicated skill of them all. It can be only pretty much used to recall knowledge or get information, but lore, as you can see, has a lot of subcategories over here. lore is this has that amount of subcategories that it barely fits on the page. As you can see, sorry if you hear like background sounds, but over here, lore is an information about a specific niche. So essentially, you pick your niche. Pretty much everything can be a niche, but the less broad it is, the better the bonus will be. For example, legal lore, just normal legal stuff, but if you get something like specifically related to legal stuff, for example, bounty hunting is just like a normal. So when you roll for legal lore about bounty hunting, and then instead of, for example, if the DC would be like if the DC for the check would be like 20, then instead DC will be 18. And if this is like literally about the law, and if you're literally just trying to recall knowledge about the law overall, just normal laws, then it's literally specific that it says just legal things instead of just things that technically requires also legal stuff. So instead of that, you get -5 to DC, aka you need to roll a 15 instead of 20, which is our great bonus. So yeah, just remember that lore is a very important skill, and not everyone actually has it. Even though you can technically use it normally, but you usually won't get it. Now medicine. You can use it to administer first aid if you're untrained, because everyone pretty much needs untrained, and you need to have healer tools, but usually your DM will allow you to perform tasks like healing without healer tools, but instead of that, but then you will get -2 penalty to that. You will need some sort of tool to replace that, and you will also get -2 penalty for not using healer tools. Over here you can treat disease and poison also against poisons DC, and to just boost saving throws with diseases and poisons, of course. So if your ally critically succeeds, or critically succeeds, then usually the disease will completely go away. And treat wounds, just essentially you can heal the ally or something, and then give back a little bit of HP, and this is pretty useful if you're going around, especially if you have something that moves you around, so you don't need to stop around. So you don't need to stop. Then you can essentially get into like a caravan or something, and then just go with that. And now nature is just a normal natural skill, like with primal magic and everything like this. But then you can also use it to command and befriend animals and things like that. Of course, against animals will DC and stuff like this. So yeah, occultism, and yeah, lore uses intelligence, medicine uses wisdom, and nature also uses wisdom. You can see this in brackets. Occultism is an intelligence-based skill. You can just do normal things with that. That you can do with things. I already stated that before in general skills. Now performance. Performance is kind of cool, because we can do all of the stuff like this by just performing. For example, as you can see, all of the stuff like this, you see, usually perform against DCs. So depending on the area, how rich the area is. If you, for example, think like 1 to 20, how like important in terms of richness the area is, you can use the the pay table I showed you before. For example, I showed you before with crafting. See DC, like for example, if this is like a complete slums area, then you will probably have like DC 14 to impress these people and stuff like this. And if the area is, for example, like a royal area with like a king or something, then DC will be probably like 34. And if you like perform in front of some sort of deity, then the DC will probably be 40 because level 20. So that's also how the GMA determine it. Um, yeah, and that's usually a DC. And as I remember, and as I remind you, these things are like, for example, if you're untrained, then regardless how much you roll, commoners are will be the like will be the only guys that will actually even attempt to listen to you. If you're trained, then artisans may even expert, then merchants and minor nobles, then high nobility and legendary. Remember, sample perform tasks. Um, so essentially, sample tasks are basically like what is like the limit of your ability currently. So if you're untrained, then no matter how high you roll with your untrained improvisation feat, then the audience will be maximum commoners maximum, even though it will just roll critical hits against these people. Then it will work like that. Religion, a wisdom based skill that once again does all of the just normal magic thing stuff. Now, society, you can create forgeries, aka fake documents, usually of course a secret role during downtime. And it uses intelligence. It's one of my favorite skills because it allows you to recall knowledge on humanoids and also things like history, folklore, and all of the stuff like this. It's a really cool skill. Now, stealth. Another another skill that you roll against a perception DC. Usually, deception, stealth, and thievery go hand in hand um, with each other. So, first, most important thing: conceal an object. Conceal an object is to hide an object you already have if within yourself. For example, if you like have an object in a code, so conceal an object will be so nobody will actually notice the object that you already have. This will be important when we get to thievery. Hide, of course, just to hide yourself. Sneak, to sneak around sneak around a place, of course. You can be either observed, hidden, or undetected, according to Archives of Nephis. Observed when you're in an enemy's view, hidden if an enemy knows where you are but can't see you, and usually has a minus to that because of this. And undetected when the enemy has no idea where you are. But important, undetected is if the enemy already knows that you are somewhere around, but doesn't know where exactly are you. For example, knows that you're within like a forest that this is in, or hiding within the castle of, or this is like a guard knowing that you're hiding within the castle of the king, but you have not noticed you yet, have not found you yet. But there's also another one that is called unnoticed. There's a thing I can even prove it. No, no, sorry, I'm dyslexic. Yeah, there's condition unnoticed, which is essentially like undetected, but the creature has no idea that you are even in here. You know, of course. Dex based skill. Now survival, another wisdom based skill that allows you to recall knowledge and stuff like this. Also, that I explained with general skills. Um, now you can use this to sense direction. Of course, secret. So you won't do weird stuff. AKA that rule that Zoro from One Piece rolls a natural one every time on. You can also cover your tracks to hide and track. I had, and depending on what you are, if there's a large army or something, not doesn't really need to be like a large army. That just needs to be like a pretty big group of people. But as you can see, yet again, legendary task is pretty insane. So essentially, once a little story. I had a party that um, had in it, I believe, like a ranger. Stop 100%. It had a ranger and like a druid, I think. And it had also I think that was a sorcerer. I believe that it was a sorcerer from with like one of the primal guys. I'm not sure if it was Fey or Elemental, but I know that it was a sorcerer that had both Fireball, like Fireball, Heal, and Tanglefoot. So 100% like one of the primal skills, but never actually like but almost never actually use the focus spell. So that's why I don't remember this guy's subclass. Mm. But like cover tracks. But right now, like all of the stuff like this, also fun thing, they were tracking each other. There was this party and also a party of enemies NPCs, and they were trying to track each other. Mm, they were trying to track each other in like a tournament, because there was like that tournament in a big magical Colosseum, and the Colosseum turned into like a forest inside. And so after that, they were tracking each other and trying to find each other, but everyone just kept failing, and they were unable to just like find each other until they like find each other. Because, for example, if you critically fail, there were like rules that if you succeed, you get one step closer to finding the enemies, and if you like critical success, 2 steps closer. If you fail, then you don't get any closer, and if you critically fail, then you get 1 step further. So also they were covering the tracks, which critical succeed, you cover 2 steps of tracks. Succeed, cover 1 step of tracks. Fail, you don't cover tracks, and critically fail, you leave even more. You make it even more noticeable that you were there, so you technically leave an additional like 1 step of tracks. And then they were doing this for like a solid 2 hours until they actually found each other. Though it was kind of funny, it provided us with a lot of roleplay opportunity. It provided the whole group with a lot of roleplay opportunities. And now, getting back to Thievery, which is a dexterity based skill which is palm an object. Once again, as I said before, with stealth, you can conceal an object, and here is a palm an object. And so, if you conceal an object, you hide an object that you already have with yourself. And palm an object is, for example, just pick something up from a shelf. Thievery is used essentially to make sure that nobody notices that the object is missing, and stealth is used so nobody notices that you have the object. And deception is a pretty good thing for a failsafe, to like convince them that this is not like what they think. This is not like what they think or something. And yeah, you can use it to just spawn on object steal, which is pretty similar. You can disable devices and pick locks, which is also pretty cool. Just once again, it uses Thief's tools, but you can technically attempt it by improvising like Thief's tools by using, for example, a hair clip, and then picking a lock with a hair clip, using these Thief's tools. Using that hair clip instead of Thief's tools, but then you usually have like -2. Once again, You can improvise some tools, but you have -2 if you use an improvised tool. Same with weapons, as far as I remember. So yeah, this is like 30 minutes or so. Last one took like 1.5 an hour. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember, keep trying to find your path. Keep trying to find your path. And with that accent, signing off.